Hey, 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 everybody. How y'all doing? How you doing? How your mama doing? Oh, okay. So this is really important. Um, this message that I have to get out right now is actually very important. And it's about understanding that this is not the time to be opportunistic. Okay, this is not the time to do that. What you have to understand is that everything that glitters isn't gold. And that's kind of what is going on right now, where opportunities may not be the opportunities they appear to be because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of temptation, okay, that's happening right now. And like I said, I'm never going to get too deep into things on here. I told you I'm just going to talk about some things that are energies that are already active and can't be stopped. Okay. I'm not really going to go beyond that into like revelations so much. They're not revelations to anybody who's connected in a real way. Depending on the strength of your connection, it is not revelations. Um, because these energies are already moving. And, the thing about being opportunistic right now is, and I want to say this now because as this shift is occurring in a major way, and we're at the tail end of it, it is kind of like there's a closing window for people to adjust if you want to operate differently from the way you've operated previously. This is a time where you can use the shifting of the ages and be backed in abandoning things that maybe you weren't aware of. Anything you were tricked into, anything you were not given full disclosure about, anything you weren't aware of what it was going to lead to, anything misleading, anything that deceived you, any energies, because what will happen is you can be deceived in a certain way and then you can be guilt tripped or other things about the things that you were lied to about, right? But in this new age, these things don't fly. So if you want to free your soul of things that may be weighing you down that aren't in alignment with who you truly are, but you may be suffering with guilt and shame that is not yours or that is artificially manufactured. If it's artificially manufactured, you have the ability to break that because this is a new age and the rules have changed. And everybody is given the opportunity to make a shift without penalty. Okay. And this is just the message I'm being, that I know I need to give in this time. So there is an out for you, but you have to understand that you cannot realign with those same energies. So if you decide that you want to leave something behind as you're making a shift, you have to understand that you don't want to realign with that same energy. So whether it was an energy of lying, right? And then your soul, because your soul, this is the thing about what they call sin, quote unquote sin. Sin is only the things that are weighing you down in your soul or that give certain entities or certain energies access to you and you can't do nothing about it because you aligned with it, right? So, wait 1 second. Wait a minute, baby. So it is what you are actually aligned with, right? You've aligned with it in some way. So think of it as this, right? If you have been lying, right? And then you want to abandon lying. Well, let me get into what sin is. Sin is actually nothing more than the things that weigh your own soul down. It's not something that some God in the sky is just condemning you over. That's really not what that is. It is because you can do whatever you want to do. See, everybody is basking in the freedom of, the end of the age and the ushering in of the new age. Everybody's been basking in the freedom of that without understanding the responsibility and the consequences. So you can do whatever you want to do, but you can't escape the consequences of everything that you do. Meaning you can go jump off a cliff, but you cannot escape the law of gravity. You're going to hit the ground, but you do have the right to jump off the cliff. You get what I'm saying? So the reason you don't want to do certain things is because of the consequences, not because it's so wrong or bad. See, people have it's been so many distortions because you had people leading the way for the new age in terms of the information. They had no clue what they were talking about. They had no clue what this was, right? And I'm not judging it. I'm just telling the truth about what it was and why it went that way. Okay, them individually that were doing it and where they align and what that means for them, that ain't your business. It ain't mine. We ain't worried about that. We're just telling the truth for the benefit of the time we're in now and the people that are hearing the sound of my voice. Okay, so people were really basking in that freedom and not understanding the consequences. So it was kind of like this. It was like, we can jump off cliffs if we want to because we can fly. Not understanding that flying means that you have the technology maybe, or you've evolved enough to create an airplane and fly, but you can't actually fly. And if you jump off this cliff, that law of gravity didn't change because you can fly the airplane. See, these things weren't known. So you have people doing things and not understanding the consequences of anything that they're doing, right? And that can happen. Only reason I'm giving this information now is because it is beneficial for those who are going to come across it that are going to utilize it. There are people in this very last hour, in these, in this moment of these shiftings of these energies and ages that are not meant to be, I don't want to say left behind, but in a sense, left behind. They're not meant to not make this wave. So information has to come available to them, and it will. Okay, some through me, some through elsewhere, because the things that I'm saying, it is not just specific to me. These energies are there, and the people who are called to be able to, who are anointed, or whatever you want to call it, to be able to read those energies is just those people. Okay, and they're giving that information to the people who are supposed to receive it. So this is not the time to be opportunistic, because there's a deception with that. Because here's what you have to understand. Remember, everybody's been so big on co-creating, and that's what they've been doing. People been putting out, that, your own energy comes back to you. What you give out returns to you. You have to understand that everything that you teach, you have to apply it to yourself first. And see, that's the way I've always operated. So that's the reason I don't have an issue beyond being irritated when you don't know what you're talking about and you getting too involved and you dipping and dabbing over here when you don't know what you're talking about, because you're not. I ain't gonna go there, but I that's the only thing for me, because anything I'm saying, I've already applied it and worked it in my own life and within my own self before I bring it to anybody else. But you got people out here that are talking and doing a lot of things because they have external goals. Their goal is not their soul. They have different goals and motivations, right? And I'm not gonna get into their motivations. I don't care what their motivations are. I'm just trying to help those who it is meant for. That's it. So being opportunistic right now is not, it's a thing where people have deceived other people, manipulated other people, misled other people for their own gains. And you have to understand that's coming back to them. So now they're going to be the ones manipulated. But it's happening from a spiritual plane. It's happening on such a deep level that it's naturally happening. Because what you have to understand is what's divine is natural. See, everything is kind of built into the fabric of things in a very natural way. And technology is good, sex science is good. I'm not saying that these things are negative, just a complete negative. But when you go too fast, and when there's too much, and there's too much devastation for the rate of the technology, certain things people just activate in the universe, right? They activate certain things by moving a certain way. And that's just that on that. You can't, there's nothing nobody can do about that. It just is what it is. And you have to understand that anything is just ultimately too destructive for anything else to be able to exist with it. There's an issue with that. It goes extinct. That's the way that goes. I'm not gonna get deep into that. Okay. And yeah, I'm not gonna go deeper into that. But it's just not the time to be opportunistic. Because everything that glitters is not gold. Because the same way people have been deceiving more of the innocent, the naive, that they felt like they could just come in, and because these people weren't aware, and then they could just do what they wanted to do and manipulate for their benefit, that's going to happen to them. They're going to have that experience and know what that is like. So as that is happening, it happens through their desires. They're going to be like the same way it happened to some people because of their dreams, it's going to happen to others because of their desires, their motivations, and their intentions. Because what you have to understand, divinity, true divinity, and I don't want to use the word God because that already has so many connotations around it. But what you call God, what you really want to mean, but what not you, any certain people, the majority, really wants to mean when they say God, but they don't know what it is. That's what I'm talking about. When it comes to that, it's looking deeper than the actions that you see or what you see on the surface with a person or just the mistakes that they're made. It's seeing deeper into the intentions, the motivations, the heart, and the thoughts, and everything that was going on behind that is also considered. And that is something that, you won't see people being able to do. They're off. Okay. And they're meant to be off because you will not mock the entire source of all existence in all dimensions. And it's extremely arrogant to think you will. You can't mock that. So this is just not the time to be opportunistic. Like I said, it is, a time where you want to really be careful and, be as aligned as you possibly can. But you can use the shifting of ages to get out of old stuff from the old age that was okay then. Because as the game changes, as the rules change, so does your ability to adjust what you align with. It's not a one-way street. And that's what's been put out there to people to siphon their power, to make them feel powerless, and to make them feel stuck, like they can't adjust. But then you'll watch everything adjust around you, and then you feel that the only option you have is to adjust with it. And that is not the truth. And one thing that I'm truly, truly about at my core is honesty and truth. And I'm going to tell you the truth. And that is the truth. Just the same way that the goalposts can change and everything, you are able to change what you want to align with, especially right now. And you have to understand that you will be supported by the universe. You will have support in coming out of anything you don't want to be a part of anymore. So if you want to stop lying, if you want to stop stealing, because here's the thing, you can do these things, but you cannot escape what comes, because remember, there's an energy tied to whatever you're doing. So that's just like if I sit back and just be negative all the time, right? And I just have nothing positive to say and I'm just negative all the time. Well, then negative energy is attracted to negative energy. You see what I'm saying? You're not exempt from what energy you're emanating. So if you're lying, you keep doing that. You can't then turn around to a lying spirit and be like, I don't want, you don't have a defense because you lie too much. And they gonna be like, we friends, what you talking about? Whether you steal, whatever you do. So whatever decisions you make, that's the only thing. You can do what you want to do. But you have to understand that whatever you choose to do, you have to understand the energy you're aligning with, and you have to be okay with that too. Because in this age, you're not going to be able to dump that off on anybody else. That was going on before, but it's going to have a very different effect than what people think it is. And there's certain things about how this is going to play out that isn't being made available to people for a reason, because it's enticing people the same way that they entice other people. You don't want to be the tempter. Remember, like you even hear that in scriptures. The tempter is the evil one, or the devil is the tempter. You don't want to be that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to tempt people away from their path. You don't want to tempt them away from their highest good, what's best for them, and what can help them. And understand that anybody can be saved, but you also have to understand that they will have to save themselves. Right? Meaning you can't ask for deliverance from a lying spirit and keep on lying. This is why Jesus said in the text, what was it? Go and sin no more. When the prostitute, because people love to talk about when the prostitute came to Jesus, and what did she want? She wanted to be clean, something she wanted from him. But then he told her, go and sin no more. What that means is, okay, you can be wiped clean of whatever you want to be wiped clean of, but you can't do it. You can't keep doing it. Because you are in alignment then with the very thing you want to get away from. And you have to understand that negative energies, negative spirits, entities, whatever you want to call it, it does not have a positive impact. It brings you down. It makes you depressed. It can make you suicidal. It can make you, these are the things that come with those energies. So, or if you get into, perverted energies, you have to understand that then you can end up with perverted thoughts. You don't have clarity of mind. You don't have a sound mind. These things can happen if you want to indulge in perversion. And perversion is using something different, using something in a different way from the intent it was meant to. So if you want to get into that, then you have to understand what comes with it. Right? So it's not about, don't worry so much about people that are not being honest in these times, or people trying to steal, scramble. That's their business. It don't got nothing to do with you. People are aligning with what they align with and going towards the consequences, paths, and journeys that they are in alignment with. So the liars, with their lies, they think they're heading one way, they're heading to more liars. And there's going to be competitions between that, because it's bigger liars than them. Like this, you heard the saying, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Well, I ain't no dog. See, that's what you got to ask yourself. You got to understand who you are. And I had somebody ask me, and I was thinking about doing a different video about it, but I try to just align and flow with the energy. So I'm gonna just go with it because it just came up right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it. But somebody asked me about your higher self. What do you mean higher self? See, there's a lot of teachings that went wrong in the new age that have to be cleaned up and corrected. And that is going to happen. The time frame, I can't tell you, but I could tell you this is for certain. When it comes to those energies, how do I want to say this? When it comes to the higher self and a lot of the teachings and the energies that went out about that, see, there was a lot of tricky stuff went on spiritually to trick people to get them so far away from themselves. So even with the higher self, you reaching way out here for this higher self. And then something can swoop in and pretend to be the higher self. No. It was a lot of tricky stuff that went on. You want to stay as close to the actual self as possible. And the higher self is, think of it like an escalator, step by step, one foot in front of the other. You ain't got to worry about what the higher self is. It's way over there. It's high up. It's way up there. You ain't got to worry about that. Walk your walk. Deal with who you are now, the things about yourself that you don't like now. And I'm not talking about what other people tell you not to like. I'm talking about what you don't like, what don't feel aligned with who you actually are. So that is the higher self. You will reach it when you reach it. Don't be deceived into getting far out there, trying to get to this higher self, because that's where it gets tricky. And I'm going to tell you the truth, because I don't have an agenda other than walking my path, my purpose, and being who I'm meant to be. And what I would want for me. I don't like people lying to me. I don't like people trying to manipulate me. I don't like people being on BS with me. I don't like people not respecting my path. I don't like people not respecting my boundaries. So I don't do it. So I'm not going to get on here and tell you something that ain't true, because I wouldn't like it. I don't like that. So see, what you got to understand, your perspective, your judgments, all of that applies to you first. But see, I live that way. When I decide I don't like something, I decide I don't want to do it. Before I decide to tell everybody else what I don't like. Okay? So that's that, guys. Because I can keep going and I'm not going to do that. But, I hope it was beneficial. And I'm just going to say things as I truly feel internally aligned to do so. It's not a lot of structure to it. I know, but I'm just not there yet. In terms, I got so many other things, like structuring things in a certain way and appearing before y'all in a certain way with my right background, with my hair done I'm just not in that space right now. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's so raw with me right now. I just want to put out what I'm supposed to put out, and then go on about my business, go on about my day, the things that the responsibilities and different things that I have going on in my day-to-day life. I want to move on to that. Okay, so I want to put the messages out there, and I want to make, I'm making sure that they're really aligned for me too. And that's that. Okay. If you want to work with me one-on-one, remember, go to the website, and, like I told you can always comment, like, subscribe. It does support the channel. And I'm going to be honest in that I would hope that you would support the channel. Because I know my intentions are genuine and I'm truly supporting your journey as best as I can. So I think that's only fair for that support to be reciprocated in a certain way, right? But do what you want to do. That's that. So that's that, guys. I'll talk to you later. Love you. Bye.